All right, guys, welcome to another podcast of So What's Your Goal? I'm your host, Travis Otto, and today we're coming to you live from Phoenix, Arizona. Now, lately we've been getting a lot of new listeners to the show, so you're going to want to make sure that you stick through to the end, because if you do, there's a good chance you're going to learn something that can improve your health, that can improve your relationships, or can make you more money, but hopefully all three. But most importantly, we're going to be inspiring you guys to take action. Today, we have Mr. Nick Salazar here of Notorious Roofing with us, and we're going to talk to you guys a little bit about his journey, where he's been and where he's going, and maybe you can pick up a few things along the way. Nick, awesome to have you on the show, and thanks for having me here.
Thanks for having me on your show, man.
Thanks for having us at your house. Thanks for the venue. So it's an intimate podcast
problem,
today.
man.
This is almost like the road show. Like, I've been doing podcasts at a bunch of different places lately.
It's like a stand-up comedian, just traveling around.
I got a tour. Like last month, I did podcasts in Vegas. Then I did a podcast in New Orleans. Now I'm doing podcasts here. I actually did a podcast in Nashville last month. So it's just kind of all over, you know. There's interesting people everywhere that you go.
Yeah, man. How many roofers have you had on?
I've had 0 roofers.
I'm the first roofer.
Actually, I don't know any other roofers besides you.
You do. You just don't know you do.
I mean, like, the only time you think of a roofer is when you need a roofer. Other than that, roofers aren't really like people that you like. You know what? I would like to find out is like who's some roofers in my area. You know?
I'm obsessed with finding out about who roofers are, and I feel like I tell people from high school, like, oh, this dude's a roofer, this dude's a roofer, this dude's a roofer. And they're like, what? I had no idea. It's like, because you're not looking for a roofer. Yeah. I'm into this. You know a roofer, you just don't know you do.
Yeah. Why are you always looking for roofers?
Well, I own a roofing company, and I do a lot of collaborations with other roofing companies, but a lot of times, I just like to meet people in the industry, and if they can't find, a good home in the space that they're in, I want to see if I can, make the company that I have built like a safe space for them to come to, that they might want to stay in the industry, right?
Yeah.
It's a rough and tough industry. It's a man's industry, but and there's been a lot of things wrong with it over the years.
There's no women roofers that you've come across?
There is some women roofers. There are definitely some women roofers out there. They're becoming more and more common. A lot less on the labor side, but
on the sales
pretty
side.
heavy on the sales side. They've infiltrated into it, which is really cool to see, and so I don't really hate on it. There's this one crazy roofing crew out of I think they're out of Detroit or something like that.
Yeah,
they're all chicks. There's some badass girls. They'll whoop our asses.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think in almost every single sales scenario, a woman's gonna outsell a man. And
you think so?
I think so, because I think that women and women, they're gonna vibe better, than women and man. And I think men like to hear from women more. I think. Just because, especially if they got a cute face. If they got a cute face and you know what you're talking about, a man's going to want to listen.
So pretty women can sell more.
Pretty women can sell more. Ugly women can too, if they've got a great personality.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, so how long have you been in roofing now?
I've been in roofing 14. This is my 14th season.
Okay. Is there seasons for roofing? Why do you say it like that?
I say seasons because it really kicks off, that we go by the hail season, right? Generally what we do is we work in insurance. And so, in the wintertime, it also gets too cold to install roofs. So they take kind of this break during the winter.
You can't install roofs in the winter? What about in Arizona? You can install
in Arizona, yes, I can. But in other markets where I work, like Illinois, Colorado, once it gets below 45 degrees, we really stop, installing roofs. The shingles can get real stiff, and you can get some installation defects of, doing something like installing in a 35 degree weather scenario.
Do you guys have a word for this? I heard this crazy term the other day. Obviously, I'm just kind of guessing how a roof works, but there's plywood underneath it, and then the shingles go on top of that, essentially, for the most part.
No, actually, it's a really big misconception about roofing. A lot of people think that your shingles are what keeps the water out of your roof, but actually what's on there is there's the decking, and then they put underlayment on. So that underlayment is the waterproofing. Okay. Right? But then you put the shingles on top of the waterproofing to protect the waterproofing system that's on there. Got it. Right? Something that will withstand the hail, wind, or whatever may be, the forces of nature.
Has it ever happened to you where the wood that the roof is made out of, if you got a house like this, right? It's roof, or it's like wood, and then there's materials on top of the wood that protect the wood, right? What happens? I've
seen some crazy stuff.
Have you ever seen wood coming up underneath the...
Oh, dude, we see space decking where it's not plywood at all, but it's this old 50s style where it's just slats across the roof with big open gaps in it.
Oh, shit, okay.
We see all sorts of scenarios on the roofing sides depending on, when it was built and what type of roof it is, whether it's super steep or flat. Different
All
areas
types
we
of
see
roofs.
different stuff.
Yeah, so you literally put roofs over people's heads, right? Like
Yep.
you're really helping people.
Yep.
You know?
I tell my son, Daddy's got to go to work. He's got to go help people with their roofs.
You got to put a roof over people's heads. I'm not just supporting you. I'm supporting thousands of people who need a roof over their head.
Yep.
Literally. That's pretty cool, man. So is the roofing business like, when I think of a roofing business, it's not really like something that you think about too often. I mean,
I think a lot of people.
It's a need, and like for example, right now I have 2 rental properties. Right, the roof is apparently like 22 years old or something like that. Is that an old roof?
That's an old roof. Yeah, and chances are you live in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Just me knowing what I know about weather and where hail drops and storms and these things happen, that's a high hail market, and so you probably have hail damage and get your roof replaced for free, essentially, by the insurance company. Now, it's not free. The insurance company pays for it. But yeah, no money out of pocket to you, except your deductible.
Except my insurance deductible.
Which is a fancy word for copay.
Yeah.
Everyone, your deductible is a copay.
I mean, in my world, I work in the insurance space, it's deductible, but yeah, it's a copay.
Yeah, it's just a fancy
You got to pay money out of pocket in order to get coverage. How about that?
Yeah. So I love the roofing industry, man. I like to say it saved my life. I kind of fell into it when times were tough and I didn't know really where my life was going. And 14 years later, I'm still in it. And so...
Yeah. No, I've heard your story. You were on Bradley's podcast. I listened to you on there. I met you in person. We met for the first time at Closure School, the very first Closure School.
Yeah, the very first one.
Speaking of which, when is Brad going to have another Closure School?
I don't know, but we're supposed to get free tickets for
Did
life.
you buy the tickets
we
for
bought the
Bradley?
package.
All right, we bought the package
I know
for
we bought the package together.
Yeah, Mr. Bradley, when is the next Closure School? I feel like it's been more than a year, dude.
We're waiting for it. My calendar, I'm going to move some shit off of it. Let's go.
Yeah. Where's Closure School? We want our VIP tickets for life, baby.
Let's go. Woo, woo, woo.
But yeah, that was a great conference. Have you been to a lot since?
Yeah, I've been to several conferences. I think I most often find myself under, going to something that Andy Elliott's usually throwing.
Why is that? Because he's close by?
He's close by. I'm in Phoenix, North Phoenix, and he's over here on the East Scottsdale or whatever. And so it takes me 30 minutes to get down to his warehouse and stuff. And then if you guys have ever been around this guy,
Andy Elliott.
You know what I'm talking about. This guy, the energy that he brings is off the fucking chain. You will leave one of his events feeling like you could lift a car off of a baby or some shit. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. And if you don't know who he is, get on Instagram right now. Get trapped in your phone and just watching reels because he brings that fucking energy. You're gonna love that.
Okay, but have you seen? So let's talk about Andy Elliott for a second. Let's get because Andy Elliott, in my opinion, for some people, is a controversial figure. Like, have you ever seen any of? Have you ever heard the Beard Lawyer? Have you heard of that guy on Instagram?
No.
So there's the Beard Lawyer, and then there's there's this Instagram account that basically calls out what they call gurus. They call it fake gurus, or they just call out gurus of all sorts that they think have unethical business practices.
Okay. So what's being said about Andy?
Andy, the things that's being said about Andy is that when he was working in the car business, he was deceitful practices, basically defrauding banks, all sorts of crazy shit. He used to work for this big red car dealership was the LLC name, and he was subpoenaed to court. He had to testify, and he admitted that he was taking in Xboxes on trade for cars, all sorts of crazy shit are these allegations. And then they also were tearing apart because they said that he might have said some bad words, N-word in particular.
You know what? I saw
they said
that.
It was AI edited.
They said it was AI edited.
Yeah.
And whoever did that. A lot of that AI editing is happening right now. That guy who wanted one of his coworkers fired, or he wanted his principal fired. The teacher that wanted his principal fired, so he made a fake AI video of him using racial slurs and shit. And so that does exist. And maybe Andy did do that when he was in the car business, but Andy broke down, recreated himself, turned himself into a person, and I think this is what's admirable about him, right?
Sure, yeah.
We all fuck up. We all have faults. We all make mistakes. We all have done something that we're embarrassed of, right?
Yeah.
I know I fucking have.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that this guy can go out and say, yeah, dude, one day I just didn't like the guy that I was, and I recreated myself, and now I'm here to help people learn how to make money because I made a bunch of money selling. And he's teaching people real sales tactics. And he's made these things about him and the people that he works with, these non-negotiables, right? Like
Yeah.
you're not gonna fucking skip a workout. If you cheat in my company, you're fucking fired.
Well, that's true.
And I love that shit.
I really, really agree with that, because there's out of all the relationships that you have, like as a man, like if you cheat on your wife or your girlfriend, like how can I trust you in business? You would cheat on the person who's supposedly most sacred to you. You're gonna fucking lie to my face for sure. You'll stab me in the back first chance you get if you'll cheat on her. And so like I agree with that, man. I wouldn't want to do business with somebody who's cheating on their wife.
Yeah, if they're gonna screw somebody over that they took vows for life with, you think they're not gonna screw you over?
Yeah,
you're out of your fucking mind, dude.
Yeah.
You need to, be very conscious about the people you're associating with and their intentions, right? And then very conscious about your own intentions, right? And so like he's very conscious about his intentions. He's not gonna work or be around anyone like that, and I admire that very much. So even if he did do those things, he's not that person anymore, and he's showing that, and he's showing that to the world. And I think that's what people need to take away from it. Like, I mean, look into my fucking past. You're gonna find some fucking closets or skeletons in this motherfucking closet for real.
No, this dude did some crazy shit. I don't even know how he got away with it, but when we first met, you kind of told me your life story. I was like, that's how I remember you. Like, you told me your life story. Like, hey, I'm Nick, and here's my life story.
Really?
that's how I remember it. It wasn't like a bad thing. It was just like, holy shit, interesting. All right, like you remember? Were you there for closer school last year?
Yeah.
You saw what's his name? Serene speak Renee.
Yeah.
Renee, is it Renee? Right? No, not Renee.
I don't know.
Fuck. What's his name? I should know that. He's the guy who like comes up on stage and he teaches you how to talk, and he's like.
Brian?
Brian?
Is it Brian? No. Brian's the guy who does the facial recognition.
Yeah, it's Renee. Let me see.
It is Renee. You're talking about Renee.
I gotta
for
find
sure.
his damn name. Renee.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
But anyway,
he is so well spoken.
He is
I'm a sailor.
well-spoken.
I probably said fuck. I don't even know how many times. It's like that South Park episode. It's just taken away right now for me on this podcast alone.
Yeah.
And so I do admire how well that dude speaks.
But my point is like I got up on stage with him, and he basically used me as an example of like how to get people to remember you. And I kind of, after going through that exercise, he was like when the exercise they went through with me was like basically, hey, my name's Travis, and I have these values because of where I came from and why I'm here, and that's why I care so much. Basically, he kind of walks you through a step-by-step process, and you kind of did that on your own. I thought it's like, hey, I'm Nick. I did some crazy shit, but I'm a new man now. Roofing saved my life, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. And that's what kind of stuck in my brain, where it's like, all right, this dude, he's, evaded prison, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
He got really
100%.
lucky, evaded prison. I know you had some issues with drugs in the past.
Yep.
Not to like air out your laundry, but
air it out, man. It's on the internet, so
shit.
these guys can fucking find it. It's
Yeah,
like,
you already
I faced addiction. I faced prison time. I mean, like, I was a no good shit kid. I got a GED, and I just rolled around with the wrong crowd for years. And you know what? And during those times, I don't think I had a lot of self-worth issues. I didn't really realize that, like, I am a smart man. I am an athletic man. I am worthy of loving someone and being loved.
How do you think
right?
you made that change, man? Because I'll tell you this, like my dad, for example, like I've told a lot of people this story, and I'm still trying to figure him out because I've never really had any addictions, but my dad's a straight up alcoholic, and he's been in and out of jail, in and out of prison his entire life since as long as I can remember. He's had he probably could have a Guinness Book of World Records for DUIs. Like that's how many he's had. He's been Florida man in the newspaper before.
No way.
Like no bullshit.
Oh,
like
man.
literally in a golf cart, driving around, almost hitting people in a parking lot.
Okay.
Like made the front page of the news. Like he's crazy. And I always wondered, like, dude, when is it gonna be like? How come you never had your aha moment? Like
I think the whole time I think people don't realize is people who are addicted to something, we know the whole time we're addicted. Every day we're thinking to ourselves.
What were you addicted to?
I was addicted to coke and crack, and so
which is harder.
It started with coke, and then it merged into crack because the coke wasn't doing it, and I was making decent money at the time, so I was able to get insane amounts of it. Also with
crack.
Also with my background before I was addicted to drugs, and so. I hit rock bottom, man. I lost everything. My very first business partnership ended, because I didn't have anything on paper. Mm-hmm. And the guy who I had partnered with, he said, I'll sell it, you install it, we'll split shit down the middle. 7 years later, 900 Chick-fil-A's installed later, he decides, to start spending our company's money like crazy. And when I had something to say about it, he said, you know what, you're better off not here trying to stop me from doing this. And we parted ways with me, just my savings, no equity in the business, because I didn't put it in paper, because he was one of my best friends since I was 11 years old. So, at the time I didn't really understand anything about grieving, and I didn't realize I was grieving. I always associated grief with death. And so I ended up, starting to abuse drugs and alcohol, and the drugs just never were enough. And before I knew it, I'd lost my home. I spent my savings. I still wasn't working for another roofing company. And I found myself on my sister's couch, who I don't get along with. You know what I mean? And I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? And so,
but you luckily had that aha moment. Is there like a specific like moment in your life? Like you're laying on that couch and you're just like saying, like, what the fuck am I doing? I need to stop.
Yeah,
woke up?
I lost my house, and I literally had nowhere to go. I was homeless, and it was like I could either sleep in the park or I can ask my sister for help. I ended up getting help, convincing my sister that I would stay sober, and I was going to try because I didn't want to be high anymore, and I was fed up with it. And I wanted to be anywhere but the park. I didn't want to associate myself to stooping to that level.
Yeah,
and so
being that guy on the bench in the park.
Being that guy on the bench, and so it was like, you know what, I'm just going to try. And so,
do you think if you wouldn't have lost your house and you just, had enough money to just keep on smoking crack and having your life at your house, if your house was paid off and you weren't going to lose it, do you think you would have made that same realization, or you think you might have been still on the couch smoking crack today?
I don't know. I never get caught up on what ifs, right?
What ifs?
So my mom died when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will ask me, like, if you could bring your mom back today, would you do it? Like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I'm where I'm at right now. But if you asked my sister, who went through the exact same thing, and she wouldn't even finish a sentence before she said yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I've never been one to be caught up in the past. All I care about is like where I'm at right now and where my ship, what direction it's pointed, right? Like, am I aiming for the moon, or am I fucking aiming for a brick wall, right? And so it's like, I just want to be conscious of where I'm trying to get my ship, right? And about where I am right now, right? And so fuck everything that's back there. It's back there now. And so I don't know if there was ever the aha moment was just waking up homeless, no savings, no girlfriend, lost the business this multi-million-dollar business that I built with my best friend, and realizing because there's like some shame that comes with, like, you didn't get this on paper, you were so stupid not to do this, even though it's happening to thousands of people across the country and all this stuff. Like, you're ashamed of these actions and where you put yourself and how you
just felt like an idiot.
Yeah, you just felt dumb, dude. And I think that's why a lot of people don't pull themselves out. They just, not today, I'll do it tomorrow. And then I was just like, today's the fucking day.
That's what I tell my wife sometimes we could just do it tomorrow. I was like, no, we can't. I was like, it needs to get done today.
Yeah.
I was like, otherwise it's gonna be tomorrow. We gotta fucking do it today. I don't want to fucking do whatever the task is, but if we get it done today, then we can move on with our lives. And I focused on obsessing on that. Just like, get that shit done today.
Yeah, dude, just do it. Do it fucking all. There's time for it fucking all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no time to fucking sit on our asses and sleep and be fucking lazy.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, there's definitely not. Especially when you don't know if you're gonna get another day. Like Bradley says, if I give you $1 million,
would you want to take it if you didn't wake up?
Yeah. Would you want it though if you couldn't wake up the next day?
And everybody says no, absolutely not. But we all know we're gonna wake up the next day.
No, we don't.
I mean, for the most part, it's like, yeah, we're probably gonna wake up the next day.
You're probably gonna wake up.
The chances that you're gonna wake up tomorrow, and so I think that's what keeps people being like, yeah, what the fuck ever. If I don't wake up tomorrow.
But so you have a wife who's in the medical field, right?
Yeah.
My wife is in the medical field. They're both nurses at one point in time, and so like, I don't know what your wife does, but basically my wife, she comes home, she tells me every single day of, hey, I had 5 patients today. This guy was dying because he got hit by a bus and he's not going to make it.
Oh yeah, it's all grim, dude. She comes home, she brings some of that shit home with her. God bless her, because it's like, how could you not, being around that stuff? And that's why I'm glad I'm in this field that I am. I'm helping people. I'm saving them money, putting a roof over people's heads. They're happy that I came in, fixed the damage, and they found something to do it. She comes home, she tells these stories about how, this kid died or this person died and their wife was right there and all he wanted to do was dance one time before he died with her, some crazy shit, right?
Yeah.
Some Notebook shit. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't even listen to this shit. And so...
But that's my point, is like all those people that I've learned...
They thought they were going to wake up tomorrow.
They thought they were going to wake up tomorrow. And I've learned to appreciate like every day. Like they're just like, once a day I'll just like, look around me and go, just take like a little mental snapshot, and just be like, this is a good day today. And I even journal about it now. I started journaling.
I think I've always been conscious of the fact, though, that like we could die at any time. I lost my mom when I was 8 years old.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I had all these traumatic things. I was seeing death very early, and it was a murder. You know what I mean? My mom's death wasn't just like some car accident. My mom was murdered, and so I just don't.
That's crazy, right there.
I just don't feel this. I've always been a little bit, maybe I'm disconnected from death or something like that, but I've always realized that that's an option. And for a long time, when I was a bad kid, it sounds so stupid to say, but like when I was living like a thug and doing all this dumb shit, I didn't give a fuck if I died today. And I don't feel that way now. Now I'm like, dude, I want 40, 50, 60 give me 60 fucking years more. You know what I mean? I got a son. I want to see his kids. You know what I mean? I want to grow super old with my fucking wife, but you're fucking 22-year-old Nick, you could have fucking shoved a bullet, down my throat, and I wouldn't have fucking cared.
That's crazy.
And so it's crazy how, as any of you youngsters are out there, not fucking caring about your lives, just know that you will eventually. You're going to get older and you're going to care. And so you adopt the mindset early that you love this life and that you care about this life, because you know what? Being grateful for the life that you have, no matter how big or small it is a tremendous play into improving your life. I think once I moved off the streets to my sister's couch, I was grateful just to be on my sister's couch.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking smoking crack. I just ate 2 or 3 meals today. Yeah. You know what I mean? I may be fucking in debt or not making any money or doing any stuff, but for a moment, it's like I was grateful.
Yeah.
I was straight up grateful to not be on the street and just be sleeping on her fucking couch. And so I don't think I ever lost that gratitude from being on that couch. And I just was kind of everything that played off that. It's like, shit, now I'm not on her couch. I got a place of my own. Yeah. And then before I know it, like, I'm married with a kid, and have a beautiful life, and I'm growing, I have like probably one of the fastest growing roofing companies in the country.
Yeah, which is crazy. Yeah, the way you do things, you talk to me about it, it's pretty interesting. This guy's a smart guy. He has a good vision, and he's executing on his plan with his roofing business. He's doing stuff that hasn't been done before in roofing, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and it's kind of complicated to explain. I don't know if we have that kind of time, but...
Long story short, he goes to the homeowner, he points a gun at their head, he says, I'm going to fix your roof today. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's exactly how it's done. Allegedly.
Allegedly how
Allegedly.
It's done. Yeah. No, but it's pretty slick, man. So I know that you we talked about some of the seminars that you go to, like Andy Elliott stuff. So like, do you have a mentor that you talk to regularly or get guidance from? Like, who do you look to?
Dude, it's like no and yes. I think Andy Elliott the most. I do reach out to him quite a bit and to his team and to different stuff. I think that I'm really big on like just kind of, I don't think that I can devote myself to one person and their views and their stuff.
I don't think you just need one
one
person. But unless
like
the one person you're talking to is like the dude who built, $1 billion roofing company, hey, what do I do?
Yeah, if he wants to be in your life every single day, but does anyone really have a billionaire that's just in their ear every fucking
chances
day
are
now?
not, but...
And that you're not paying to be in their space or do all this stuff. And so I pay for mentorships. I think it's important, but I think that I do a lot of there's so much free mentorship out there, just online, just on social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. You find
there's a lot of podcasts. Like you basically
podcasts, amazing things in podcasts.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Like there's a guy that I paid to get some mentorship from him, but JT Fox. I don't know if you ever followed that dude or not, but
maybe I follow people.
He's a business guy. Started in real estate, made a bunch of money. Now he's buying and selling businesses, right? But I paid to have him mentor me, basically, like tell me, hey, what do I need to do? How do I get closer to you? And honestly, I just started by listening to his podcast, and like half the stuff that he told me in person like was on the podcast. He's like, there are literally a lot of people that you look up to that you want to get knowledge from, is they're giving most of their information away for free.
Absolutely.
The thing that you pay for is just them to critique it to your specific scenario.
And them to maybe hold you accountable.
Yeah.
To get somebody to hold you accountable to using their methods, right?
Yeah.
And so I've always felt like, dude, I don't need them to hold myself accountable, because at the end of the day, it's going to come down to me holding myself accountable.
Yeah.
So if there's events that I want to go to, I'm going to go to them. If I want to go to a Brad Lee event today and then an Andy Elliott event tomorrow and then go see Tony Robbins in a fucking month, I might just go do that.
But not everybody can go do that, but you can listen to their podcasts.
Yeah, but you can start with podcasts and books and all that different stuff. And so I think that's where I started. I mean, before I even met Bradley, I was listening to Bradley's podcast. Like, dude, I fucking love this guy. I love what he's building. I love how much knowledge he shares about building businesses and how he brings people on to talk about how they built their businesses and gets into the nitty gritties of those things. And that's actually how I got on his podcast, by listening to it, right? Yeah. And so I got on Dropping Bombs by listening to Dropping Bombs. I literally heard him say, hey, you guys come out to my first Closer School Live event. I think that, I'm going to pull somebody out of the crowd and put them on my podcast. And what I did is I bought a $500 ticket and a flight from Chicago to fucking Vegas. I showed up at the event. I told you I was going to try and get on Bradley's podcast. Yeah. I walked up to him and said, hey, you said on your episode, I said, I said, hi, I'm Nick. He said, hi. And I said, can I ask you one question? He said, what's that? And I'm like, you said on your podcast that you were going to pick somebody to be on your show. Did you pick him? And he says, no.
It's like, I did.
And he says, why? You think you could be that guy? And I said, yeah, I do. And he says, why do you think that? And I said, I just started this word vomit.
You told me that you told him your story.
Yeah, I showed him my dick. And he said, that's fucking funny. And he's like, you're on, right? No, yeah. And so, I asked him, you know what I mean? And it's the power of just like knowing what you want and going after it. And then he gave me his phone number, and you know what? It didn't stop there. I fucking probably texted him 100 times. You gonna put me on the show? You gonna put me on the show? You said you'd put me on the show. And then one day he was like, yeah, dude, I'm gonna put you on the show. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got you. Just won't go away.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Follow up till you die, man.
Yeah, but it was good. I got to go out there and share and then it wasn't like him going to put you on my show. It was more like, let me ask who are you? Let me dive a little bit more into the details of what you're doing. And I was able to get that time from him to explain what I'm doing. He said, dude, what you're doing is very valuable to people. Yeah, I'll put you on my show. Mm-hmm. You've also had a crazy life. Then I showed up an hour late to the podcast. It was a 2-hour recording and I only got like an hour's worth. And that was on me because Arizona doesn't do motherfucking daylight savings time. So half the year we're mountain time and half the year we're fucking in Pacific. Yeah. You know what I mean? And stupid.
Everybody fucking makes mistakes.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this question though. So from being on his podcast, like what did that have an impact on you, your business, like anything? Did you get a bunch of people reaching out to you? Like what really happened at the end of the day?
I got a lot of love because on that podcast, for the first time, I talked more about my personal life than what I've done in business. Generally, when I've been on podcasts, I've always talked about roofing and just different things like that. Mm-hmm. And so I got a lot of love, first of all. A lot of people saying, hey, dude, your story's inspiring. And that was really cool to hear because it's like people who I talk to my life about don't really tell me that. It's just like my friends that usually know it or just somebody like, I don't know. It's never like on that level, on that scale. And so it was cool to get a lot of love that way. But then, I had a bunch of laborers and crews and people who weren't happy with the companies they were with come and say, hey, dude, can I get a job with you? Salesmen were saying, hey, dude, we love where you're from and where your head's at. Can you help me make some fucking money this summer? And we went out and crushed some fucking shit in Colorado.
So you got connected.
My boy Don DeGroot, he'd fucking popped into my DMs and he showed up and he fucking tore it up in Colorado this year. And I was really proud of him. And so, yes.
So you connected with some other roofers in your industry, and you guys were able to collab and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's cool. It's and it opened up the door. He has a lot of solar people. And I work very specifically with solar companies. I do normal roofing stuff, but I do stuff that other roofers aren't doing, and it's geared towards bridging the gap between the roofing and the solar industry. So it got me in front of a lot of solar companies. To go out there and pitch what I'm doing for them.
I heard the solar industry right now is like struggling.
It depends where you are, I think. I think certain markets are getting worse because they're losing state incentives. But there's places like Massachusetts that it's the fucking Wild West of solar all over again.
Oh,
there's
really?
such high state incentives with the federal 30% incentives that even these monster dealer fees that solar companies are dealing with right now are in effect. People are fucking raking up gold in there.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question, man. Is solar really worth it? Like for the consumer, for the end buyer, is solar really worth it at this point in time? What do you think?
I think it can be. I think it's getting harder and harder to buy because the lenders are putting such high dealer fees and interest rates on them right now.
The interest rates are through the roof right now.
They're through the fucking roof, and when they used to be like 3%,
like anytime we make a
15% dealer fee with
Yeah.
a 2.99 financing rate, and now people aren't really seeing that shit anymore, and it's really sad to see. So I think they're experiencing some issues with it. But yeah, people who can offset their power, you know what I mean, who aren't using a ton of power and can get enough panels on there to offset their power bill, yeah, it's a great thing. Because like, if you got told, I'm gonna lock you in at today's rate for the next 15 years. And then you could stop paying us if your electric company told you that today, because they're raising the rates. If I was like,
Yeah.
what was it 15 years ago? You'd be like, fucking way cheaper.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? And so it's like, yeah, we'll lock you in today. So what they are doing is a good thing and a great sale. I don't necessarily know enough about the loans and the leasing. I don't know. I can't say how I feel about that. I'm kind of on the fence about that. But people who are buying solar and offsetting, yeah, I think it is a good thing. You know what I mean? It is a good asset to in addition to your...
So what do you think about all the electric movement? The government, everybody, people
I
are
think
pushing
it's
for
fucking
electric.
bullshit. I think it's bullshit. I think their hands are in the pockets of some companies and some corporations that they're taking public, and they want to build the fucking stocks up on. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, so
I think we're doing just as much damage fucking turning everything to building all these batteries and all the mining for the batteries and the components and the metal and the bullshit that goes with that. And so I don't necessarily I fucking like a diesel truck. I'm not a fucking Tesla guy, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you gave me one of the
Have you driven a
two
Tesla
options.
though?
Yeah, I've been in them. I hang out with
fuck.
solar people all the time. Yeah,
They're
they
so
fucking go from
fast.
0 to 60.
But everyone thinks they're so lame. Most people, like a lot of people do. I watched this one YouTube video. This girl, she came up there and she was like, "What do you think about guys who drive podcasts?" She's like, "Oh, they're probably gay." And I was like, "What?" Or guys who drive Teslas. I'm sorry, guys who drive podcasts is what I said.
Yeah.
What do you think of guys who drive Teslas? She's like, "They're probably gay." And I was like, "What? Really?" Like, they're pretty cool cars, but like, I don't know. I just don't think the infrastructure is there. But I think they're so fucking fast. Like, that's what I like about them. Just like instantaneous power.
I like the power and the stuff, but at the end of the day, dude, like my friend's sister who lives like in Denver, Colorado, her Tesla, it got too cold and she got caught in a blizzard and it lost all its charge super fast. There's people in Arizona, their shit's overheating in 120 degree weather and their battery life isn't lasting for shit.
Yeah. No,
And
that's
so
true.
like I don't think it's like
think it's
cool,
there
you guys, but like what it takes in electricity and to power the like where do you think electricity comes from, right? Like
Yeah.
we still have nuclear power plants and all these different things that are fucking powering the grid.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so like we're still wasting a ton of stuff just to pump a bunch more electricity out to people, right? These electric companies are gonna get their fucking money some way.
Yeah.
They want you fucking hooked on them, right? And it's bullshit. I'm hoping fucking aliens show up on planet Earth and free energy fucking
energy.
comes around, dude.
Yeah. So do you think aliens are real?
Absolutely, dude.
I think so too.
You guys are from Vegas, so you guys got George Knapp, the reporter, just exposing all the whistleblowers and
Yeah.
what's the one guy, Bob Lazar, Area 51,
Yep.
that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's like
I think
one
for
of my-
sure that aliens exist. Like I think it's
100%.
statistically impossible. All right, but here's the real question though. So if aliens exist, then like, do you think God exists, or do you think
I think
God's an alien?
I don't think that you could classify it. It's like interdimension. It's like they say interdimensional beings, right? And I think that ultimately there is a creator source, but I hate the idea of the traditional God that people think about, like
Sunday church.
Like
Jesus,
I mean, dude, like Abraham and Joseph and all these motherfuckers. They're talked about in the Quran. They're talked about in the Torah. They're talked about in the Old Testament, right? It's like. Moses has talked about this. Like every fucking civilization has a great flood story. Yeah, there's a bunch of people that probably really did exist, and all of these people have different gods and all this stuff, or they worship their gods. All have different names and different rules per religion. And it's like, I think there's a source, yes, but I think organized religion is a bunch of cargo cult bullshit, dude. They're cargo cults.
What's a cargo cult?
That like.
I've never heard anybody call. I know what a cult is, but a cargo cult.
I wish I had my phone on me because I'd look up the definition.
I don't have good cell service, so I was handing my phone. But anyway, all right. So cargo cult. You don't know how to describe it, really?
Like on the spot? No, probably not.
Right. No big deal. What I think kind of happened is that there's all these different religions, right? And maybe there's one event or a series of events that happened, and it was an alien that came down and spliced genes with a monkey or did some crazy shit. There was an event,
and they called that alien an angel.
They called the alien an angel, and
then as a result of that, they formed, and that's a cargo cult, right?
And so all these subcultures.
And that's what a cargo cult is.
All right, so there we go. That's what I think. I do believe that.
Yeah, and so we're on the same page with that. It's bullshit, and it's hard to go back. You know what I mean? You just try to look into.
Have you watched that one series on Netflix? It's called Ancient Apocalypse. Have you seen that one before?
Absolutely. They brought the creator of that show and put him on the Joe Rogan podcast.
I saw that too. It was pretty cool. Like that's pretty trippy. It's like literally redefining like textbooks, because they say that history is literally just like an agreed upon lie. Like what everybody talks about. Like
it's not the way it actually happened.
Built the pyramids. Okay, maybe.
Some people say that the Egyptians found the pyramids and just moved into them.
Yeah, which could be just as likely.
Own thing.
I don't know.
Yeah, and so it's hard to say. It's like, I'm just hoping some shit shows up in our lifetime and fucking wipes out the way that we're fucking thinking and living and puts us on fucking track. I don't think we're the only things out there. And honestly, ever since, I think it's 2021 when the New York Times, or 2018, I think the New York Times released that article talking about aliens and all this different stuff. Yeah. And then they showed the Tic Tac video and all these unexplained. They're calling them UAPs now, not UFOs. They changed the name to kind of bring it out, to bring it off that like.
UFOs. We're gonna change the UAPs.
UAPs. I think there's a certain stigma that sticks with UFOs. Yeah, now that they're having to admit shit that they were saying wasn't real for 40, 50, 60 years. Now that they're starting to say it's real, it's like, well, let's just change the name so we don't look like fucking liars. Yeah. Right. And so then you see these whistleblowers like David Grush going and testifying in front of Congress about aliens and disclosure and interdimensional beings, and he's talking about the fucking hologram theory, right? And so it's like, like if you take a piece of paper and you wave your hand above it and you see the shadow on the piece of paper, like they're projecting into their shadows, right? Interdimensional beings. And he's calling these crafts the interdimensional beings.
Yeah. I don't know about all. I mean, I don't know about nothing, I mean, it all could be true, it all could be fake, it all could be just a guess. But I mean, I definitely think there's some shit out there that we can't explain. Maybe we'll never be able to explain it,
Well, I think that there are different dimensions, and I think that the only thing, I think that we're human beings, like on what we can see, but there's X-rays, gamma rays, all these different things. I think we're actually really fucking blind. We're universally fucking blind. We can't really see shit. We can only see really what's in this third dimension, but there's so much other shit out here that we can't see in the grand scheme of what we know exists. Yeah. Right?
Okay, have you heard of this one before? So when I'm looking off into the distance right now, right? You can see behind me, I can see behind you. But what I've heard someone say before is how do you know what's behind you really is there? The universe only appears.
What's that theory called? It's almost like, it's kind of like, is the cat, if I threw a cat into a box and gave it poison and you open the box, is it dead? Is it dead when you open the box, or is it dead? And they say it's dead and it's alive until you open the box, right? Yeah. But it's until a decision is made to open the box, that cat is both dead and alive, I think is what they're saying, right?
Yeah, some trippy shit like that. It just kind of makes me think every once in a while when I'm behind me, I look behind me, I was like, is that actually there? When you get into your head, just being stupid, but.
I don't know, man. I believe, I think I have some pretty abstract views, but I think that a lot of America has it's starting to veer away from organized religion and more into
But some people might say that's by design. You know, some people might say it's the destruction of, you know, home values and, you know, morals, and, you know, we're just
they're out to kill Christianity. And you know what? I see a lot of that. People are fucked. I love the idea of organized religion to an extent, right? I don't want people to take it word for word, but you know, they bring a bunch of good values and traditions to people, and keeping morale up, and I think, you know, prayer is pretty cool. I think the power of your words are very powerful, and I think voicing what you want in a positive light is very productive for your life. And so like I like that, you know, these different religions pray for what they want and for what they hope for in their lives, right?
Yeah.
Their health and shit.
Yeah. I think religions teach good values sometimes.
Yeah.
For the most part. I think sometimes it's poor execution on the leaders of the religion.
It's the extremists, dude.
And it's the extremists.
It's the extremists. They have them in every fucking religion, and they fucking want to argue this shit like this is this way. And look what's happening in fucking Israel and fucking Palestine right now.
Yeah.
They're fucking killing each other for fucking what? They both believe in a higher power and want the best for their fucking people, and they're arguing over fucking nothing, and it's bullshit.
Yeah. I have a friend who's there right now in Gaza, or not. She's in Israel right now.
Is she?
She's in Israel. She's in the military, and she said that Gaza looks like, you know, a war zone, just like totally, like she said, it looks like Call of Duty. Like it's just like, you know, blown up buildings, you know, people in the streets, you know, just gunfire, just like it looks crazy. Just imagine Call of Duty, that's what Gaza looks like. And then in Israel, she's like, it's like you're at the mall and like you're chilling, except everybody has AK-47s. You know, she's like,
is she in the military?
Yeah, she's in the military. Yeah.
With the American military or the Israeli military?
American military, yeah.
Okay.
So she's over there actually, you know, bringing supplies and that sort of stuff. And,
crazy.
But I asked her, I was like, so you're there, you're boots on the ground. Because like, I don't trust the news media. I don't trust what I see on TV.
Tell me what you're seeing.
Everyone's got an agenda. You have no agenda. You're there to get paid, and you don't really care what you do. You get paid the same. So tell me what's going on. And she's like, well, I can see both sides. She's like, the Gaza, Hamas, you know, they attacked Israel first.
Yeah.
And they
killed innocent people.
They killed innocent people, and then they took hostages.
Who's not gonna fucking retaliate to that? Come into my fucking house, guys. See what the fuck happens.
Yeah, who's not gonna retaliate? And then she's like, I understand that was wrong, and they shouldn't have done that, but they did it. And they're using the the people of Gaza as like human shield to protect the Hamas group. Like they don't really give a shit who dies. Like you can kill everybody, but you're not going to kill the leaders of Hamas. And then the Israelis are attacking the shit out of them, and they have way more weapons, way more power, and they're just like going ham. Like they're just like flattening it. Like they don't care if they turn into a parking lot. And she's like, so I don't think that's necessarily right, because they're being bullies at this point, but at the same time that they shots fired first, you know. So like I don't know. She's like, I don't really know what to do because I see both sides, you know.
Yeah.
But clearly the people in Gaza are like, you know, totally screwed. Like I've seen TikToks and stuff like that of people living in Gaza where it's just like,
it's
whoa.
sad. I mean, it's sad all around.
Sad.
It's all sad all around. And it all stems back to, what the fuck are you fighting over? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You both believe in a higher power. You both want the best for your people. You both want the best lives for yourselves and your kids. Like, fucking get it together. Fucking start fucking living a better life. Start being fucking positive. Start doing the fucking right thing. But they don't. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what the issue is. It's because, like, I believe that there's levels of everything, right? Like there's people who are very like boots on the ground. They're the day-to-day workers. They keep everything running. Like the people who work at McDonald's, the people who work in the military, like they're very like boots on the ground, very, very thin level. And then there's higher levels of government, and there's somebody who's controlling the governments, who's controlling bigger agendas, who's saying, all right, you know what I want to do? I want to start a little conflict here because I want to get, you know, a little bit more space. I want to get a little more land. And I think just all the common people get trapped in that, and like it's all gearing towards like a global economy of some sort.
Yeah,
that's what this is all about, in my opinion. It's world governments playing who's got the bigger dick, and I'm going to use some pawns in the process.
Yeah, they don't want China and Russia to come through with the currency of choice to rule the world. They want to be the ones in control, and I think that also the military-industrial complex has a huge role to play into it. You know, if they're not spending trillions of dollars on warfare and all this dumb shit and developing all these stuff with nowhere to use it, then what the fuck are they building it for, right?
Yeah.
And so I think you know, they sell their guns, they sell their fucking tanks, they do this stuff. They can't sell it here, they sell it to other countries. You know,
it's all about making money at the end of the day.
They make new stuff for us and sell the old shit to them.
Yeah,
and that's what we do.
I'm gonna leave you with a couple more thoughts here. I have a buddy who's in the oil business, and he's like watching the news every morning. He's like, we need a war. We need oil prices to go up, because if oil prices go up, all the prices of oil start going up. When oil prices go up, they start producing more oil. When oil prices go down, they kind of chill. And
this
so
is such a weird concept.
Why
don't they just make what we fucking use?
They don't want that.
What we need.
It's about money. Like, have you ever been to Odessa, Texas?
Yeah.
You been to Midland? You seen that place?
It's like going to fucking Bakersfield, California, too.
Yeah, except everyone there is a fucking multimillionaire. Like, they're rich as fuck. Like, no kidding. Like, imagine, like, I went to this one dude's, like, building. I was out there doing some projects for work and meeting some people. And there's this one guy, he has a big warehouse. And all they do is they just sell hoses to oil fields, because you need hoses to run water, to pump water, so that way you can get the oil out of the ground. Well, like, they do fracking and stuff like that.
It's like the gold rush, right? Like what they say about the gold rush is that most of the people that hit it big on the gold rush were the people that were selling shovels, pickaxes, the equipment and stuff. Not more people made wealthier lives. I don't think millionaires. I think that was like kind of far off than maybe became millionaires, but hundreds of thousandaires, right? They were making these large sums of money off of, providing services to the industry that was booming.
Exactly. And so my point is like, I went to this dude, and he sells oil field supplies to oil field companies that drill to get the oil out. I walked into this dude's building, huge steel building, very average, a bunch of like parts that you don't even know what the hell you're looking at, but it's all worth millions, tens of billions of dollars in this warehouse. Like, you don't even know what you're looking at, but it's all to get oil out of the ground. I go up to this dude's office, and he's got like a bearskin rug on the carpet. He's got hundreds of guns in his office, just like all around the wall. He's got a safe in the back. He's got cocaine on the table, and he's got a cowboy hat on, and he's just like living his best fucking life. Like, it's just a whole nother world down there. And if you've been to Odessa, you pay attention, because like I had a tour guide of Odessa. He's like, oil, support. This is what they do. That's how much money this guy makes. Look at that truck. Look at all of his equipment right here. Everybody's multimillionaires down there. But it's just crazy. So that's what I think is really going on. Money is the whole thing that controls everything, right?
Yeah.
I'll leave you with this.
We're a capitalist country.
Yeah, we're for profit, man. But I'll leave you like this. At the end of the day, I think the United States is still the best place to be. And,
absolutely. 100%.
And if there's anybody who's trying to take over the world, I want to be on the winning side. And I think that America's on the winning side, and I want to keep it that way.
Yeah.
So with that being said, this is an election year. So, Trump or Biden?
Trump. 100%.
Trump all day? Why?
Trump. Always been Trump.
Always been Trump? Why?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say I'm an independent, that I'm not a hardcore Republican. I think that I share maybe more, of even closer to a libertarian views, if you'd want to say that. I hate to put a label on that and call myself that. But, I think, gays can be gays. I hate the trans fucking movement. It makes me fucking sick. I will take that to the core. I just hate the trans movement. I hate them pushing it on our kids. I don't even want to get the fuck into that.
Yeah.
But, I think gays should be allowed to be gays. If you want to dress like a woman, that's cool, but you can't have our fucking bathroom. You can't be in a bathroom with my fucking niece or my friend's fucking daughter, or hopefully one day when I have a daughter, you better not be the fuck in there. You know what I mean? And change it. You better not be taken away from them at the track meets because you're trying to compete with them because you're such a pussy. You can't win a race against me or Travis. You know what I mean? So that's as much I think as I'll say on that.
So because Trump like kind of defends some of those, like,
Trump's a businessman, dude. And at the end of the day, the Biden family just seems so fucking crooked, and they pretend to be this fucking people that they're not. And Trump is so like, yeah, what the fuck ever, I did it. He's fucking real, and I like that in a person. Like, so what? Like I said, we make mistakes and we fucking own them and we do whatever, but that family does not. And it's so Democrat and Republican, dude. I wish that the fucking both of those two things would fall off.
Well, they do.
And I wish that there weren't even labels, and that anymore. Like we abolished Republicans, we abolished the party affiliations, and we just started finding people that were fucking good at what they fucking do. You know what I mean? We need somebody who's gonna fucking look at America as a business and fucking drive it to the fucking, drive it in that direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just think like, these are our lives at stake, and these guys are fucking. We're watching Nancy Pelosi fucking do insider trading on the fucking daily, and nobody's trying to fucking put her in prison, and it's out fucking rageous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're fucking firing good good reporters like Tucker Carlson who just want to bring good, honest news because he won't fucking push their agenda.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I'm fucking tired of seeing that shit.
Yeah.
And so like I've always been more of an independent and always just wanted to pick the guy who was going to do the best thing and the right thing for our country. And you know, there's some extremist fucking Republicans and there's some extremist fucking Democrats that I would never fucking support, you know?
Yep. Well, good. Yeah, man.
But Trump all day on this one, dude.
Trump all day.
This
All
is
right.
fucking,
You heard it.
that's too easy.
We'll see. We'll see at the end of the year who gets it.
We'll see who steals the election or not.
Yeah, if they don't, you know, lock him up and throw away the key first or kill him, you know.
And then we need to fucking just reconstruct.
Yeah. But anyways, man, well, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast. Thank you
Thanks,
so
man.
much. Hopefully you guys heard something that, you know, piqued your interest. But anyways, you can find, where are you at? Give them your Instagram handle. How can they get a hold of you?
My personal Instagram handle is KingSally777. Everyone called me Sally growing up. 7's my lucky number. Born on the 7th.
Right.
And then or at Notorious Roofing on Instagram. You can find me there. Nick Salazar on Facebook. Probably every fucking thing else.
All right. Well, if you guys want to talk about roofing, or you know, maybe you got some questions, if you're in a tough spot, I think Nick's the person to talk to. You know, he'll hopefully you learned something from this. But anyways, hit him up if you need a new roof. Hit him up if you got some hail damage, you're not sure about it. He's the guy to talk to. But anyways,
hit me up if you're in solar.
Yeah.
And you need a new roofer, somebody that can help you close more deals or turn your customers into repeat customers for life.
Boom. There you go. You heard it, guys. All right. Hopefully you guys learned something on this episode. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for tuning in.